So let me introduce myself. I'm Paul Flesher. I direct the American Heritage Center here. And I welcome you to a conversation with Lynne. Today we're honoring Lynne Simpson, who, along with UW, has been appointed a Distinguished Alumna for 2025. And Lynne, congratulations. We're going to do a little bit of a dog and pony show before we get to the main course, just to sort of give you a little bit of anticipation. I got to start by thanking people. I want to thank Matt Troyanik, who's been working to put this room together and organize the drinks and the cookies. So thank you, Matt, for everything. I want to thank Tana Leibold for doing the taping today. And I want to thank the Art Museum for sharing their sound system with us so we can make sure that everybody hears as our voices get quieter. Some of us are teachers and we have trouble standing in front of a class and being quiet, but that doesn't happen to everybody. What we're doing today is we're having a conversation with Lynne about her career. As many of you know, she's been involved in theater almost all of her life, both as an actor, as a director, as an advocate for community theater, and in a number of ways. And she's also been a community organizer. We can thank Lynne for her role in creating the Epson Senior Center here. She's created other community organizations in other towns in Wyoming, and Jackson and Sheridan and so on. So we want to have a conversation about that. I'm not the only person, the university isn't the only person by itself to have recognized what Lynne has contributed to Wyoming over the decades. And I'd like to invite a couple of people up to speak briefly about ways that Lynne is being honored here on campus. The first person I'd like to invite up is Christina Kuzmych and ask her to speak a little bit about Lynne and Wyoming Public Media. Do you want a mic?
I'll try it.
All right.
If not, I'll work my natural voice. All right.
You gotta have it close to your mouth.
This isn't like a radio mic. This is a little different.
Okay, can everybody hear me? All right, I'm delighted to be the first one to speak about Lynne Simpson, because we absolutely love her at Wyoming Public Media. I'll bet a lot of you don't know about the Lynne Simpson Women in Media program, so I'd like to tell you about that. The purpose of this program is to support women in media and the work that they do. And that's all women, women who have been in radio for a long time, women who are just starting out. It's funded by the Edelweiss Fund at the Community Foundation of Jackson Hole. I want to make sure I get that right. And also by individual donors. The program started out as an idea of Maggie and Nick Murdoch. I don't know if many of you may know them, going back to when Maggie was Dean of the Outreach School. Nick got us interested in a fund called the Edelweiss Fund at the Jackson Community Center, and that fund had a special provision. It would fund projects that only dealt with women and girls. So he came up with the idea of why not create a fund or a program at Wyoming Public Media that funds only women and girls. That doesn't mean that men cannot apply. If they have a topic that has to do with women and girls, they may also apply. So we started this program, and we didn't quite know what to name it. So we started looking in the history books to see who was important in Wyoming, what women kind of led the charge. And our staff told us we want someone current and inspirational. So that kind of took us out of the history, and we went into looking into contemporary women. And Nick and Maggie Murdoch actually came up with an idea. They said there is a woman in Wyoming who is active, talented, a leader in her profession, involved in the community, involved in advocacy, has a spouse who is absolutely fabulous and beloved by all Wyoming, and she listens to public radio.
I do.
I'm glad you corroborated that. And we thought, why not? Her name is Lynne Simpson. So that's how we came up with the Lynne Simpson Women in Media program. Now, that was 8 years ago. And you kind of wonder, what has the program done? Well, it has helped dozens of women with their salaries, with their projects. And I'd just like to name a couple because you might recognize these names. Hannah Haberman is currently part of the program, and she is our native and tribal reporter, and she's the one who is receiving the funds now.
Great.
Yay. I'm glad you liked her. Maggie Mullen. You probably know her from Wildfile, but she started out in radio, and she was a recipient of this particular grant as well. How many of you remember the name Savannah Marr? She was our reporter in Lander, and she was our indigenous reporter. She was also funded by this program. And Savannah went on to work for a radio station in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And now she's on national news. You probably hear her on Morning Edition on the Marketplace segment, and she reports under the name of Savannah Peters. So that was also somebody who started out with this project. And the very first candidate that we had for this project was actually not a news person. It was a young lady who was still a student at UW, and she wanted to learn about fundraising for public broadcasting. So she worked in our fundraising department. And then her next job was in the membership department of Colorado Public Radio. So she started with us and moved on to higher positions. We're super excited about this program, and we can't thank Lynne enough for being the inspiration for this. Lynne, you've done well, really well. And you've inspired a lot of women reporters and young ladies who are kind of looking into the business. So congratulations, well deserved, well done.
I'd now like to invite up to the, well, I'd say the podium, except I haven't got one in front of me. I'd like to invite Dean Scott Turpen from the College of Arts and Sciences to come up and speak a little bit about ANS's involvement with the Simpsons, and then to introduce Lynne.
To speak with you all. There's already been some really great introductions of Lynne, and that was my task, and Paul took most of that thunder away from me, so I'm just going to tell a couple quick stories. I met Lynne over 20 years ago when she invited me as a brand new faculty member in the music department to do a music performance with our students and with some of our faculty up in Casper, involving, I think it was some sort of a Governor's Arts Award kind of an event. She was kind enough to invite a young faculty member who had just moved to the state of Wyoming, and I knew right away she was committed to the arts, extraordinarily serious, highly organized, and I knew she was a woman to be reckoned with, and she's been a very close friend of mine ever since then. And I cherish every time I see her and her husband Pete. We go on and on about some of the stories and some of the experiences we've had together through the years, so I absolutely cherish that first experience that we had together, Lynne. Fast forward 20 plus years, I met with Lynne yesterday morning, and we were talking about the arts and humanities. And I spoke with a woman who is deeply committed to the arts and the humanities, not as something that is a fluffy add-on, We're a state of agriculture and energy and business, and all of those things are true. They're in the wheelhouse of the state of Wyoming. But we're also a state of the humanities and the arts. And it's absolutely crucial to our well-being, and she is a woman who's incredibly committed to it, and she looked across the table at me, grabbed both my hands, and she reaffirmed the fact that she's deeply committed to it, and she frightened me just a little bit. So I'm extremely proud to continue to get to know Lynne. And I want to add something. We've got an exciting new fund in the College of Arts and Sciences. It's called the Pete and Lynne Simpson Student Enrichment Fund. And this fund is to support student internship opportunities in the arts and humanities. It's a unique one. We don't have anything like this. And I'm so pleased to have their name on it. And she quizzed me yesterday. We need to make sure, and we're going to do a very good job of this, to make sure that those internship opportunities give our students in the arts and humanities opportunities to get real-world experience so that they can have careers and launch their lives, launch their careers in the arts and humanities. We are dedicated to that. It's essential for the state of Wyoming. It's essential for developing our workforce and diversifying our economy. And the Pete and Lynne Simpson Student Enrichment Fund is one that's going to help move that forward. We've got a good amount in that account, but if there's anybody here who's interested in making additional donations to that fund, we would of course encourage those things to help more students. And if there's students in the audience, we will be getting a request for proposals out here very soon. So that's enough talking from me. I'm very pleased to introduce our talk today. Peter Parolin is going to do a great job, close friend, excellent colleague. He's going to mediate this discussion. So please help me welcome Peter Parolin and the great Lynne Simpson to the stage.
Super exciting, Lynne Simpson. As a bit of a thespian myself, there is nothing that thrills me more than sharing a stage with an undisputed master of the art. So I'm in my zone here, and it's a real honor to be here with you among your family and friends, and I think maybe some people who are coming to Lynne Simpson for the first time, which is amazing, and you're in for a treat. So should we get started?
Well, I love being with you because you love theater. And he writes about theater, and he is part of theater. He's an actor as well as a great personal friend of the art. So I have nothing to say except I'm so thrilled to see students here. You can't imagine how Pete and I miss the university and the power of young hopes and energy and the life that you gave Pete and I at this school. And we miss you, and we miss your mentors. And we admire what you're doing. We admire everything about this place. And so thank you for this opportunity.
Oh, it's great to be here, Lynne. And last night, some of us were at the homecoming dinner where you received the official presentation of the Distinguished Alumna Awards, and you made some dazzling remarks, but then afterward you said, I still have some more things to say. So I'm like, well, luckily we're going to be in a venue tomorrow where you can do it. So the floor is yours. What did you leave out?
Well, I read over my notes and I decided, well, I left out just the right things. No, but I'll tell you, performers and theater artists, what I did that was wrong is I expended my entire energy loving on the audience before the show. Because I was so excited to see everyone, I forgot all about my speech. You can't do that if you've got to remember what you're about to do a performance. But anyway, so thank you, Peter, for paying attention that I said I might have something. All I remember is I had beautifully written in my notes, all the world's a stage, and then I said recite the whole thing, because this is how I believe that theater is the core of culture, because it reveals who we are in this world, and that we are a world. This world is our stage, and our world right now needs a hit performance. So reading it. And I do believe that you love and I love the art of theater because it's a reflection of who we can be, who we are, who we want to be, our hopes, and our coming to peace in terms with our lives as human beings in a very complicated, exciting, and tumultuous place. And the theater gives us a place to find ourselves in our characters, in our stories, and just in our own sense of our place in the world. So, thank you.
When I was looking at your resume, it's apparent that this love for theater, this has been part of you from a very early stage. So can you tell us where your passion for theater came from, and how did you decide that theater was going to drive you forward in life?
I don't think I made that decision. I think that some of us come to the theater through opportunities to be, to present, to be with other people in a place that we are comfortable. And we're excited about a chance to have some personal effect. And some of us are lucky to be born with some gifts. I'm looking at a gifted audience because of course we all have gifts. But I'm talking about that opportunity, what they give you to say, would you pretend that you're this? Or would you like to take dance and be part of this beautiful fairy-like world that we're presenting? And I think that if you're a child that has the opportunity to dream and be curious, and then importantly, your school comes along, your teachers come along, and they reach out and they see this and give you an opportunity. So I think you are found, and then you find yourself, and it happens over and over again. I think I was discovered the first time in the 5th grade. I was already 10.
A late bloomer. So, Lynne, I thought maybe we could talk just to get everybody on the same page here, just a little bit, a little trip through the resume a bit, that you, I would love to hear about your early forays into the professional theater world, because you went to New York City, you lived at the rehearsal club, you studied at the Actors Studio. I think I read that you arrived in New York City with $100 in your pocket.
Yes.
And it all sounded so freaking romantic. So tell us about that milieu and how do you remember them?
So here's the reality of all that romance. So we dreamers, right? And so I did dream of a life of performing in the theater, mostly because I loved the literature of theater, and I thought, I can do this, I can be great at this, and nothing stopped me. No one, sadly enough, said, maybe you should do some more things before you go to New York. But I flew off to New York with that $100 and immediately lost it, and had a dime in my purse to call my dad and say, Dad, I was in an employment office and I went up to the counter to get a form to fill out for a job and left my purse on the bench in New York City in an employment office. I never saw that purse again. I didn't understand who the heck would ever do something like that. They wouldn't do this in Cody, Wyoming. What is happening? So there I am, not with 100, with a dime. But I had people who loved on me and didn't know me. People who reached out and say, you can live with us. People who in the rehearsal club reached out and say, we will protect you from all the things you silly sagebrush girls don't know about being in New York. So I think my experience in New York was disastrous, but it was absolutely triumphant. At the same time, which is life, right? The paradox. Because I was open, like you are here, love to be in a room of young actors and because you have an openness. I was open to that city the city wasn't ready for me. There's just something about being in the biggest city in the world, coming from Cody, Wyoming, with no intermission, no way through. So I found that my love of people was hampered because I couldn't love on everybody in New York. And I ended up walking the streets of New York looking at the sidewalk. And I couldn't go to Central Park alone where there was nature and grass and trees because I was told that would be dangerous. So I found myself in a cement jungle where you can't be raised in the Heart Mountain and the Bighorns and run your whole life in the sagebrush and thrive in a cement city. And also the anonymity. That's the other thing. When you're raised in a small world and a rural world, people know you. You have a presence. People acknowledge and affirm that you're alive. You can go for days and weeks without that information in a huge environment. So while I learned a lot, Peter, I learned that I wasn't cut out for devoting myself to one narrow thing. I think theater people are like that. I wanted to go to the dance. I wanted to see opera. I wanted to go to the museum. I wanted to see the things that were happening in the city, while my competitor friends in the theater were doing nothing but theater classes and dance and movement and more theater classes. And I was out learning to love and be in life. So that's got to do a lot with my career post New York.
Well, something you said about the anonymity of the big city versus the community and everybody knows each other in these small towns does make me think, oh yeah, I can see why theater would be so attractive, because when you're in the theater, you may have 100 people or 50 people or 500 people in the audience. You can't probably know them all, unless you're Lynne and all your friends are in the audience. But they know you because you're on stage and you're in a relationship with lots of people. What can you talk about, like yourself as a performer and what it means to have a relationship with the audience, and that can be a spiritual answer that you said you might have a spiritual answer for, or an intellectual one, but you're one of these people that you connect with an audience, and there is no anonymity when Lynne's on stage.
That's a lovely question and a lovely thing to talk about. First of all, I think that great theater is a spiritual experience. It's beyond thinking about. It's beyond analyzing. It's beyond calculating. If we've touched you or moved you in any way, that's a spiritual experience that you're having. So there is wonderful sense of power in that live performance, because we don't have theater without an observer. That's the connection that you love, I think, Peter. That's the connection that I wish we understood more, because so many times I've been to theater productions that didn't care about the audience or know the audience or believe that audience was part of the evening. But when that happens from the stage, that we acknowledge that then this audience is a part of us tonight or today. And then you don't have to talk about or think about the audience. Their spiritual energy, you know this is true, any of you who've been on the stage, will come to you. And it's a complete combination of your energy and their energy and the magic of being together, the power of being present together. So you're just praying that the front row doesn't go to sleep on you, because that is not present. And part of being in a theater and knowing about theater is you know the power of presence. I'm here with you. I'm here for you. And you do that with your fellow actors, and you do that with that magic wall for the audience. We are here for you. And they say back, heck, I paid $600 for this. I'm here for you. I was telling someone I would never pay $600 to see a play. That's part of the danger of our profession, but we'll get to that at the end. Anyway, the audience is why we exist. It's part of the art form. It's a holistic art form with observers and players.
You have played an astonishing array of roles
Yes, I
in
have.
New York, in Wyoming, in Oregon for some. You spent some time in Oregon where you were in theater a lot. I won't say all the roles, but these are impressive. You played Hecuba in The Trojan Women, Sybil in Private Lives. You were Gypsy, Irma LaDuce, Nellie in South Pacific. You've been Emily Dickinson, Ethel Thayer in On Golden Pond. You had a really good co-star for that one, as I recall. That's a lot of great stuff.
It
Some
really
of I'm imagining some of them stick out for you for one reason or another. Did they challenge you? Did you love them? Were you afraid of them? Did they teach you things? What recollections do you have of some of the
Peter.
roles that stand out?
This is difficult because if you're really present for every play's your favorite. If you're really present there, this is my favorite moment, and you remember this happening. So I appreciate the question, and of course I'm going to tell you a story.
Listen, I'm going to ask you later which of your children is your favorite too.
Well, I'm going to tell you this just for fun. But I played Marilyn Monroe in After the Fall. Now, After the Fall is quite a profound play, in my view. It was written by the ex-husband of Marilyn Monroe, the famous playwright
Arthur Miller.
Thank you. That academic moment. Anyway, this is uncalculated things that happen to those of us artists in any kind of art, whether it's painting or dancing or singing. It just, all of a sudden, it was the right time for me to be in that role with those people. It couldn't be calculated. And I threw myself into it. And I was a mother and a wife and of people who expected very conventional behavior from me, right? But this was my moment to show them my true self. I'm really a Marilyn Monroe. But because she wasn't like me, but I loved her anyway, because she was a phenom, and I didn't understand that. It gave the actor muscle in me a time where I could learn to love this woman. And when you learn to love somebody, then you try to learn, you understand something more. I start with love before I start with understanding. I'm going to love this person now. And then all of a sudden, losing weight so you're only 110 pounds, and dyeing your hair bright white, and all the things that Marilyn Monroe did, I pretended I was doing. It was easy. It was easy. It was fun. It was right, and it wasn't a show-off performance of Marilyn Monroe, because the play is written about this woman's essence. And that's the fun of theater for you theater artists, is to look beyond the show. What is the essence? What's driving this person to be and do and motivate her life? And so I had a great time with that, Peter. The only problem was I did it so well that when the show was over, every male in Eugene, Oregon thought I was Marilyn Monroe. For weeks, I said, Peter, nobody's relating to me like they used to. Well, that is just a side effect of that one.
Wow.
The other one was, as a little kid in a rural town, don't we get our love of performance from the movie theater? This is in the old days, before we have the technology that we're now involved in. And so I got to dance like Debbie Reynolds in a play called Irma la Douce, where I got picked up and thrown around, and dancers, I just thought that I might be the next famous dancer on Broadway, and I wasn't. It was terrible. It was just awful, but I was so happy. And I just want to tell you all that when you think of favorite things, maybe you're going to think of happiness. That's a word we don't talk about very much. But I think happiness and love are good things to talk about with theater people and with dance theater people and all of us who are in these trenches of a tumultuous life. It's all right to lift up happiness of that moment of being tossed around the stage, or that moment of total immersement in an art.
Yeah. Well, you've done that for others, so it's lovely to hear your experience of having that yourself. And in doing it for others, you haven't just been a performer, you've been a director, you've been a producer. That's been another part of your life in theater. You've been a damn good director, I can say from personal experience. In your theater, when you've been a maker of theater, you've used theater a lot to help make community, especially around Wyoming. And I wonder, if that's true, that when you're making theater, you're also making community. And if that is true, how and why does community theater help make community?
Well, you alluded to it, because the art form requires an audience. And that is your community in the broader community. And because theater is collective and collaborative, you have a community of theater artists. So then you start to understand what is community, what makes us whole, what divides us, what will help us grow and be proud of community. So I will tell you that my love of theater is really about what you learn about connecting with the other people with you and connecting with the audience. And then you have to connect with other artists. It's totally a collaborative art. You have to show respect and knowledge of other people's expertise. You cannot become self-oriented or egomaniacal. There's nothing, if you in theater think, they're just going to think I'm an egomaniac, let me tell you, theater is the most humbling art that there can be, because you are with others that are better than you, that challenge you. You need them. You have needs for each other. Now that's community building, in my view. And you can community build in Meeteetse, Wyoming, in Pine Bluffs, in Medicine Bow. I mean, there are ways of community building wherever you are, and you will use your sensitivities and the things you're learning in your art, your discipline, your awareness, you're able to see for community building in your life. Because we all know in this room, dreams of being the star and making all that money is a crazy thing to chase. You want to chase your personal power. You want to chase what makes you a difference in the world. And I think that in the arts, you learn that your presence, your awareness, you're forced to be able to see, because you're working on this play. How do we see the need there? How is my vision widened by this experience to include the whole community of people that I'm working with? So when you can see, then in theater, what do you do with that? You have to act. So acting to me is a holy word, because it means action. And I think in community building, you can't sit around and dream about this wonderful community we're trying to build on campus or anywhere else. You have to get the troops together and have action towards that. And for me, knowing that I can't do it in any other field, I just used theater as a tool, as a place where you can build community.
And communally, you problem solve. I am thinking about the fact that building community theater, you don't always get to like perform at the Brooklyn Academy of Music facility. Sometimes you don't even have a facility that was ever designed as a theater or thought to be a theater. We did a show together in St. Matthew's Cathedral, downtown Laramie. What different kinds of spaces have you gone into? And I think especially as we see like a lot of young people in this room who might have the ambition to let's get out there in the world and put on a show, and you don't have, you know, the main stage of the Buchanan Center. What are the challenges that you find, and what spaces have been really interesting that you've used in your life?
You're brilliant, Peter, because we're just about to launch on the subject of saving theater. There are so many ways to entertain now. We don't need a Buchanan Center. We don't need Broadway. We don't need all the lights and the sound. We have found so many ways to connect with entertainment. It's almost, we have to maybe redefine entertainment. It's not just theater as we've known it. So what keeps us alive, of course, is change. That's what makes actors, and we know about change. We know the change in our bodies. We know the change in what we can do. Change in the theater is very important to address. And this is where I'm coming to. Pete, we have to. I got alive in the theater in a rural setting because there were no theaters for us. We didn't have money for the equipment that people have. And if you think we're going to have a $500 ticket so people could come and see Music Man with all of his glory, no. The genius is we can have theater anywhere. Heck, we're having theater right now. You do know that. We're having theater right now. But the challenge is, where can I tell this story? And where will the audience enjoy this story more in this space? They may be in that space. So yes, you go to parks and you sleep overnight with the piano so that no one will steal it, so you can have a play in the park. You go to an attic, because that's the only space available. And it becomes an adventure. People are crawling up the stairs, finding the attic, and then you've got garage lights on for the lighting, and everyone finds the excitement of the magic of making something out of nothing. And theater's going to survive if we don't get lost, that we have to have. Now, I am in love with technical theater people. They've saved my life and made my life magical. But they go with you. They'll go with you into the cathedral and figure out how to move all the pews out of the way and how to use those things to hang lights on. And that is the magic there. So yes, I could name a lot of weird places I've been, and they were the most fun. And the audience opens up. They're not in a traditional thing. So now I'm part of this. And so that openness allows us to change each other, to love each other, to be together in presence. So I'm all for experimental spaces. I'm all for just going down your street and saying, this is where we're going to have this play. You understand? Thank you for asking that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I should share you with this audience. Are there questions in the audience? I have more, but I know you have some too. I'm going to give you the mic.
Fancy.
I grew up on Hard Mountain, and I got my start in theater at the Cody Theater Company. How has that place shaped how you view art?
What was the Cody, the what?
The Cody Theater Company. They turned the old movie theater downtown into a stage theater.
Well, I'm on the team with anybody who looks at a space and wants to turn it into something magical. And the people who bought the theater where I fell in love with Pete, on my second date we held hands in that old theater. And it was...
Pete smiling.
That's all we did. That's all we did. That's all we did. Anyway. And of course the theater is magic for me because that's where I went to the movies for 5 cents, you know. So I want to say I'm all for them for what they're doing. Everyone needs to be open about the possibilities of that space. And my hat is off to taking that theater and making it a place for people to be alive and perform one another. And I'm so thrilled that they are doing it. And I think there's still some imagination that can be brought to bear with this. And so I'm rooting for that little theater company. And by the way, dancers, it was instigated by a dancing choreographer from Cody. And luckily enough, she married someone that had enough wherewithal to help her imagine that space. So that's the other part of our collaboration, everyone. You know, we do need each other. And our magic as the artists is to put passion in the things we believe in. Know what you're talking about when you're trying to sell your dance studio or your new theater, or you want your art studio. If you have passion that's real and you can express your passion that has meaning for others, not just yourself, you're going to have support. And that's part of our reaching out in the community and being a whole community of people. We do need people to help us with those things.
I'm thinking too, when you're getting started, you always hope, whatever field you're going into, that your parents are going to be supportive. Lynne, what as a parent who has had all of her children have thrilling lives in the arts, do you have advice for a parent who might come to you and say, "Oh my God, my kid just told me they want to have a career in the arts"? Because parents don't always welcome that news.
Your hair falls out. I mean, really, Mom, I want to be a poet. And your mind goes, oh my God, how will they eat? You know, you think of all the poet stories you've read, all the poet plays you've been in, and you think, this is a disaster. Because we're in a society, a capitalistic society, that demands of us to participate in making money, in making the wherewithal to live. And so that's, we parents want our children to survive. and then your heart goes, my God, I have such a special child. I have a child who can think in poetic terms and write with the choice of words and rhythms. And my God, I have a child who can sing like no one's ever heard. You know, and so your heart sails and sinks at the same moment. But I think that that's the paradox we live with. All of us live with that paradox. And isn't that the fun of being in the arts? Because it is a place that should, if it's good, holds that paradox together. And so there's that parent holding all those emotions. I want you to do it. I don't want you to do it. I want you to be happy. I want you to be successful. You see, those words, they're all crazy, aren't they? So I'm glad you asked, because I think if your child tells you something like that, you need to listen. Because when I told my parents about being in the theater, they didn't really understand that at all, and probably should have talked me out of it, and they might have. So you need to be prayerful and spirit-filled and love-filled when you sit with those students and children in your future, way in your future. But it's a blessed moment, because giving artists to this world is a gift. You are a gift. Every student I see, you're a gift in this world. And you just have to love your parents to their wringing of their hands. They love you. They know that artistic lives are difficult. It isn't the way that capitalism has decided that we're going to live successful lives. You're measured by your personal gift, your personal power, not by your money. This is a big decision. This is a wonderful place for a parent to be with their children. I think. What do you think? Did I do all right with that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I didn't ask you what you thought, Pete, but we just kept writing checks for a couple.
That's right. Just get that check hand ready. Lynne, we can see in this answer the kind of passion that you bring to education in the arts and humanities. Can you talk a little bit about your sense of the role of arts and humanities education, and how do you feel about our collective commitment to arts and humanities education in society, in our society?
Okay, let's have a down moment with each other. I have concern for the place of the arts and humanities in education. I'm not wringing my hands because we have tolled the death knell for the theater since Greek times when they were all dying of some pandemic. You know, we said the death of theater and art in the medieval times. We've declared all art and theater dead many times, and it never happens. But I worry. I am concerned that we humanists and artists are not ready to be the warriors that we have to be, to stand and be present in the avalanche coming at us, the technology coming at us. We can't make technology evil. I remember being pitted up against the arts and the athletics and the science, and I'm thinking, this is the wrong approach. Don't divide us. Find out where we come together and we're all problem solvers, right? There's ways of us working together if we are brave, theater, brave and courageous enough to try to think anew, not exclusively, but anew. So I have concerns, Peter, because in my life now, at the end of it, am I at the end of it? Yeah.
No.
No. Anyway, I'm just trying to say, I find that theater, dance, all of these are great tools of education. That you carry these arts with you into any kind of career you might have. If you're an artist, you have it with you. And if you have the luck to have some real education and chances in your art, it's going to give you the personal power that you need to be alive in the world and in the arts. And we are not teaching theater as this tool that will teach these children how to feel for you. What motivates you? Why did you do that? I love you, and I understand what love means, and I'm hurting, and can you help me? All of these kinds of things that theater brings to the experience of maturing human beings. And I think you can say that about all of the arts. I know the theater art the best because it's the human art. But I think that we have to be warriors, and we have to fight for having those opportunities for expression and for the thing you feel and know that is different from making a living and marching to the tune of knowing that your only success will be measured by money. So I just say, I'm not against STEM. That's really a waste of time. Not against AI or technology. But we have to balance, for human development, we have to balance the scale. So if you don't mind, I'm going to tell you, when I just wrote a paper about the power of live performance. Now, when we think of actors and artists, do we think of power? I do, because we have to have personal power. We all can't have financial power. We all can't have political power. But if power means the ability to make things happen, then every one of us has power. We have personal power that only happens when we're present And we know we exercise our gifts and our intelligence to make something happen. And in the arts, it has to be with each other. It's not out in space with a rock. It's with each other that we're going to make it happen. And so this power of presence happens in education, where these kids may get overblown with not understanding their personal power. I think a lot of depression, I think a lot of sense of being lost, is they're not understanding your personal power that you have. You can make a difference. It's wonderful when you can make a difference with others.
And it's a lifelong quest, right? That personal power. You may struggle with it when you're young, but you may struggle with it in midlife, later in life, and the kinds of tools and techniques that you build through the theater and how you think about the theater, they can carry you through these moments whenever they happen in your life.
You have to believe in yourself. You have to believe that you're here for a reason. We like to endow each other with meaning. You are important. You can do something. Maybe it isn't what you wanted to do exactly, but it's better because it's you and you can do it. Anyway, I'm very interested in the arts and education. And the humanities teaches you this through philosophy and literature and history. And, you know, someone asked me the other day, why do you like theater? I said, because I took philosophy and fell in love with the Greeks. I did not fall in love with theater. I loved the Olympics and the things that they were celebrating. So the humanities that we are not teaching, as those of us in this room would like to see, it's part of human growth, human development, human power as an individual and as a society. And these arts and the humanities are the core of that. And it's powerful. And we can stand and be present in front of AI and everything else, and we win the day. The human being, with its empathy, with its seeing, its curiosity, its intelligence, we will be fine. But we are in the trenches. We have to fight for this. We have to understand the power of what all of us in this room love and believe in. Isn't that right? Am I right?
Great. You're right.
You like it?
You're right. Yes, you like it. You like it. Who else has a question? Who else has a question? There's a question in the back row.
I think this guy's in the theater.
No. My question is, as someone who's going out to the world and is less interested in the traditional pathway of going out and auditioning and really making their own theater, how they could look to create that community. Like, what steps should they take to create that community?
Well, first of all, you can't imagine yourself as alone. You know, so you already know the power. You're going to need a community. It seems to me that you put up the poster and say, I'm interested in a community of theater artists and musicians, and you would be surprised who will come to the coffee. I mean, you communicate that you are looking for a community, and that community will find you. And that sounds pretty fluffy, I know that, but when I came back to Wyoming, oh no, Lynn, you came from New York where all this fabulous art, and I came into a community that I didn't know anyone, and there wasn't anyone who knew I was an artist or had love for theater, but all I did was communicate. I would like to do this. Is there anyone here who would like to join me? Or you become a participant in other people's art, and they learn to, you can't be anonymous. And some of us are. You know, we have a great artists, but nobody knows us. You need to be open and ready to take some action if someone responds to you, and be intentional. You know, I don't like frou-frou art. You have to have the intention. I love this art because, and I want to do this with you because. That's very powerful, I think. So when you go out, you won't be alone. You have to assume that in this room right now are people whom you would enjoy being with and collaborating with on some art piece that we don't even know about. So you have to be a person of faith, a courageous person, and full of enthusiasm for the possibilities that are there for you. And I believe they are.
Thank you.
That's wonderful. Any other questions? I'll run the microphone around this room.
Hey, Lynn. Hi. Leslie Wagner. I work on Good
Leslie.
Floors. Some
We are
substitute.
joined at the hip in some way.
I know,
I don't
right?
know what.
We share a name. I just edited an oral history with Jackie Ellis, who I know you know. She passed away recently in Casper.
I didn't know she passed away. That makes me happy. Her husband's name was Pinky.
Pinky, that's right. But she mentioned a story concerning you when you were in Casper, and it was about the play Oliver.
Oh.
And she said that you had children from an orphanage play in Oliver, and they were talking about how it kind of brought the community together and how the people didn't even know about this orphanage and these kids. Can you talk about that? Do you remember all of that happening?
You're talking about a deep place in my heart and my life in the theater, because in all of our lives we're going to have those magic times, right? Oliver, though, was a product of the things I'm talking to you about. It's being in a place and not stuck with what's traditional, what is expected, what do we have to do. It was about being in a new community and knowing about this place that had a dark cloud around it. It was a place of abandoned children. I mean, they weren't even orphans, all of them. Their parents didn't want them. They were there, they were wards of the court. They were people who were so sad, so troubled, and they were in this big house, this big place. And the town kind of skirted this place. That's the home. Well, my heart broke over that, because I know there were children in there, people in there, that all they needed probably was some affirmation and opportunities. And that is something my art offers, right? So what do you do in an orphanage? You do Oliver. Everyone became a pickpocket. I mean, I had 100 pickpockets on. So anyway, there's a long, wonderful story about this. But the intention was not to do a play. The intention was 100% involvement from the community and the home in a event, right? So my goal, intent, every child in this home is going to be in this play. Well, that didn't go over, with the rough and tough guys, the 3 packs a day teenager that was, and guess what? The end of this project, 100% of those children were involved in Oliver. They were lighting technicians. They parked cars. They dressed up and were with the people from the town. And the town people were from these awful kids. And it broke through all kinds of social phony barriers about being human together in a community. And of course, I had the famous Pied Piper of children, and it was Pete Simpson, who played Fagin. He knew the name of every child in that audience, on that play. We saved a kid who was being punished and made fun of because they didn't take a hearing test, and he was totally deaf and couldn't hear. He changed his life. We found a little girl who they didn't like because she was violent, and we can't have her be with us because she's always hitting and scratching and beating people. We made her the star. She could sing. She could sing. And now she was loved. I always just want to say there's some magic in those little things. So thank you for letting me talk a minute about the miracle that art can do when you connect, when you collaborate, and when you love, and when you see what needs. You have that ability in you to see what this community needs, what they would grow from. So thank you, that was one of my favorites, and I'm so glad to get to talk to you about it, and I hope all of you students will understand that you will have those opportunities in your life. You don't know about them now, maybe, but you have that opportunity ahead of you to be an alive presence wherever you are. That's the artist in you. That's the theater in you. That's the dancer in you. That's the music in you. You are not in music. It's in you. And there you are. And there you are, the presence that this world needs. Is it right?
Lynne.
Thank you.
That's so beautiful, and I know we're pushing up on our time. That I do want to ask one more question, because you did mention who you had playing Fagin in that show, and I remember just reading very recently a story in UYO magazine about you, and Pete was quoted in there as saying, in a marriage, it is so wonderful to go through your life with somebody who loves the same things that you love. This is a room full of people who have, many of whom have known you both for many years, love you both individually, but also together. So would you say anything about the journey of Lynne Simpson and Pete Simpson, and how that plays into all the things we've been talking about?
Thank God we're at the end of the program. I mean, I could start for an hour about the magic of a partnership. Pete and I fell in love after we were married. We just knew that we were going to be friends. We just knew that we came together on so many common interests and loves, right? And so I just say, that is a fortunate way. There's a lot of ways to find your love partners, but a partner in life that is alongside of you, cheering and loving everything that you do with each other, is a lovely happenstance. And I would pray for it for everybody. It doesn't mean that even our life wasn't without struggle. Marriage is mature. Sometimes we don't mature at the same pace. I hope I'm giving you this life lesson. In other words, there's no perfection mystical marriage. It's a marriage that requires the care, the giving, forgiving, all of those lovely words we learn about if we've taken any theater classes. Anyway, it is true, I saw many unhappy artists in my life whose partner didn't understand what they were doing, didn't support what they were doing, didn't believe in what they were doing, and that's difficult. So I would just say, have that be one of the things in your life when you're looking out there for a partner that you might have, or partners. That commonality, that's a community between the two of you, and it's important. It's really far more important than sex, and just believe me. There's a life beyond.
Even though I'm sure that was very good too. Then.
Is that right, Greg?
Maybe a way we could end is, yeah, the censors they're going to come in on us. No. you talked about the checks that you wrote to your children, and one of them is here, and she has something that she could share with us from her own art. Maggie, are you ready to roll?
Okay, but I'm going to do this.
Okay, you set it up.
I'm going to do a shout out to you. Peter Parolin has talents as an administrator because he understands connection, he understands collaboration, he understands empathy, and he understands people. And he loves people, and he loves the university. So I give a shout out to you. You are a gem on this campus, and I appreciate it. A shout out to you, Christine, because you are in the trenches over our fabulous public radio. All of us should be sensitive that this wonderful service we have in a rural state where we're connected to the world and we're connected to the arts and all of the things, and we're connected to our state. The wonderful local programming you're doing. So just know you're not alone in there fighting this by yourself. You have a lot of fans and a lot of people who count on public radio to make their lives better. So we'll just let us know what we have to do to help you. And we have a great, well, she wants me to write a check. And the other thing, Scott is not a surprise. He's a fabulous jazz musician. And my experience with any fine artist like that is they know how to care about detail. They know where they can see the connections. They can see the collaborations. They are collaborators. They are connectors. I think to pick you to be the A&S Dean was a fabulous choice, and I'm rooting for you and all the success you have ahead of you with the humanities and the arts, and we know we have a champion in you, Scott. Thank you. And of course, there's someone that I love dearly, like my own child, and that this will be very embarrassing for him because this is a very gifted man who is a professor in his heart. He's one of the best professors I've ever had classes from, and he's an artist in his soul. He loves music, he loves theater, he loves movies, he loves life, he loves me. No, but I'm just wanting to say this little moment for us happened because of Paul. So Paul, thank you very much for being with us. You are the best. You are the best. And we just talked about that alchemy for a minute.
Yeah.
That's what happens in the theater. The change, the growth, how things are never the same, how we have to embrace change in our lives in a holy way. And my daughter sang for me this morning a song she wrote not too long ago, but in the past about alchemy. And I think it's so profound, I would love it. She's a live performer. She's a theater artist from Boston University. She's raised a child, and she's still performing. And she's going to perform for you. Would you do that, Maggie? Thank you. You know, I ended my speech the other night with a thank you. And I did want to say thank you, Pete, again today. Thank you, Pete.
Yeah.
For everything. For Maggie. Thank you, Peter.
Oh, sharing the stage. I'm going to go over here and watch. Listen.
So I just want to say she made me cry.
Yeah.
So, I was in Oliver, I was a tiny pickpocket, and it was magical, and she made us eat gruel. She made big pots of gruel, and we all had to eat it. And it was gross. And I lived here for a long time, and I started, when you were asking the question about how can I make theater, I want to do my thing. As a singer-songwriter storyteller, that was a good avenue for me because I could bring my theater to the stage. I had the songwriting vehicle, and I could sing, but I told stories. And I love this quote from something called the Baal Shem Tov, which is, when the bond between heaven and earth is broken, even a prayer is not enough. Only a story can mend it. And so in the theater and in dance and in vision, all the arts are a story. And if I am in the arts, I can tell you the story of the rock in space and build the bridge so that that becomes personal. So that's something I can feel to my direct experience and my sense. So in the arts, we get to be that bridge, and we get to make those channels. And that's something we get to talk about at dinner, and it's fun. We talk like this at dinner. My mom wanted me to, and I also ran an open mic here for a long time. And that was another place to make theater, is to make a space where people could come and do their poetry and sing their songs and make it a very welcoming space. And instead of it just being in a coffee house, I brought lights, because I grew up with her. And we turned down the lights at Coal Creek, and we focused colored lights with gels from this theater department's scrap pile that I clothes-pinned to the lights, and we made a little stage corner, a magical corner, and it became a listening room, so that people, instead of visiting with each other while someone was doing their thing, they watched, pulled their attention. So there's lots of ways to do things. And my mom wanted me to say the words to this. And I don't know if I can, because I've been in retirement for 18 years and I'm finally coming back in to sing it. So this is called The Alchemy. Don't worry, darling. You are not abandoned. This is not a random state of affairs. You and this moment were perfectly chosen. Anything you've frozen or buried somewhere has come to be born here in this morning, come to be torn from your fear and your guard. And in this form, heaven will hold you into this storm that is never to fade, but change you day to day to day to day. You were never so lost. You will never be so found. You were never so rootless nor so rooted down. In every little breathing, in every little sound, in every little tear that should come rolling down, you will find Kali, Buddha, the angels. And you'll fear as they're calling your name. You will be broken and you will be mended. And you will know them as one and the same. It's the same light. It's the same flame. It's the same burn. Don't cry, darling, because this is just the alchemy. Don't try guarding things that only used to be. It's this new day to this new life. And this new day to this new life. And in this new way, you will find it's all right, and you will be so afraid. Don't worry, darling. This is not a test. No one sits in judgment, so may your heart rest. In the arms and the hands of the Tao, in the arms of the goddess, in the bosom of now, may you love and be blessed. Blessed in your heart, blessed in your breathing, blessed in your body and deep in your bones, blessed in the undoing of surrender. And know in the deepest part of your soul, you are pure love, you are pure light, you are pure heart, pure light, and you are wholly enough. Blessings fall and we move to grasp them, and in our shaking hands we clasp them, fingers curling in upon the palms until all that open space is gone. Until we open again. See here now, don't cry, darling, this is just the alchemy. Don't try guarding things that merely used to be. It's a new day with this new life and this new way, and it's all right, and you'll feel so brave. Those are the words. Here we go. Let's see if we can do it. Don't worry, darling, you are not abandoned. not a random state of affairs, no. You and this moment, perfectly chosen, anything you've frozen or buried somewhere. Come to be born here in this morning, come to be torn from your fear and your guard, and in this form heaven will hold you into this storm that is never to fade. It would change you day to day to day to day to day. You were never so lost, you will never be so found, never so rootless, nor so rooted down. In every little breathing, in every little sound, in every little tear that should come falling down, you will find Kali-Boo, the angels, and you will feel as they're calling your name. You will be broken, you will be mended, and you will know them as one and the same. It's the same light, it's the same burn, it's the same flame. Don't cry, darling, this is just the alchemy. Don't try guarding things that only used to be. It's a new day with this new life and this new way, and it's all right to feel sometimes so afraid. Don't worry, darling, this is not a test. No one sits in judgment, so may your heart rest in the hands of the Tao, in the arms of the goddess, in the bosom of now. May you love and be blessed. Blessed in your heart, blessed in your breathing, blessed in your body and deep in your bones, and in the undoing of surrender, knowing the deepest part of your soul. You are pure light, you are pure love, you are holy enough. Blessings falling, we move to catch them. In our shaking hands we grasp them, fingers curling in upon the palm, until all that open space is gone, until we open again. See here, love, don't cry, darling, this is just the alchemy. Don't try garden, these things merely used to be. Don't cry, darling, lean your head down on my knee. Don't try garden, these things merely used to be. Bring this new day to this new life and this new way,
be on the third album?
It's on them.
Okay, all right. Maggie's done, I have 2 of Maggie's albums back, and that your style is still marvelous. Thank you. Lynne, thank you so much. Thank you. That concludes our program. There's still cookies. Grab a drink on your way out and enjoy. Probably got another half an hour if you want to take a look at the exhibit. So thank you very much for coming. We really appreciate it.